You're listening to the 49 Carats podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats podcast. I'm your host, Steph, back with another prospect interview. Joining me today is former Cal and Fresno State wide receiver, Nikko Remigio. Nikko, how's it going today?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Not too bad. Make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up for Nikko. We're going to get right into it, get to know him a little bit better. Nikko, you spent most of your collegiate career in the Bay Area over at Cal. You spent 4 seasons there, had a lot of success. What was the driving factor behind transferring to Fresno State for your final season?
Yeah, there was a number of different factors. I think it came down just to finding an offense that suit me a bit better. Obviously Cal was in a transitional period from a quarterback standpoint. So, being in a system with a more established quarterback was something that I was looking for. I think ultimately just, having the ability to further my education and start my master's degree. So.
Awesome. And what's your master's in?
Instruction and curriculum right now.
Okay. Is there a particular reason why you wanted to go that route?
It was kind of the only thing that they offered me when I first got there, but at least I got my foot in the door and we'll see where it goes from here.
And was it intentional at all to want to stay in California?
I actually had no idea. It was kind of coming down to a few different schools. And Fresno State had kind of came later into the scene, but, definitely helped being able to stay in California and, obviously being able to have my family come out to the games. And, I'd like to say that I've done the full Cali tour at this point, obviously growing up in SoCal, spending 4 years up in NorCal and then spending this past year in Central California. So, it was definitely a good experience.
Yeah, definitely a blessing in disguise. There's been a number of different, NFL players of Filipino descent, but relatively still a small number. Tyler Algier, Doug Baldwin, I know Cameron Bynum as well are the top ones in the NFL today. What would it mean for you to be able to add to that Filipino representation in the league?
Yeah, huge. My Filipino culture is a huge driver in who I am, and it's a huge part of me. So, I think to be able to represent and contribute to the small demographic of us that, is in the NFL is huge, not only for myself and my family and my last name, but, like you said, for the Philippines as a whole, for the Filipino people and the culture overall. So.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm sure there'll be a generation of kids in the Philippines wanting to play some football.
Yeah.
We talked about the 1 year you spent at Fresno, but in just that 1 year, you did receive a lot of accolades as a wide receiver and a punt returner. So, I mean, you talked about the fit. It was obvious that there was a fit with that offense, and you're absolutely electric with the ball in your hands. What is it about you that you think makes you such a good returner?
Yeah. I think returning is a very unique skill, and, it's hard to find, not a lot of people have it. I think it's just a knack of being able to have confidence, the utmost confidence in your fundamentals, when tracking the ball and catching the ball. And then I think having a few screws loose to just be able, once you catch the ball to run at, 20, 21 people the other way. So, it definitely is a unique skill. Being able to turn into a running back and always find the extra 2 yards on the field is something that I pride myself on. And it's just really an exhilarating position to play, a really fun position to play. And, I enjoy it.
And I know you see yourself as more than a return man, though. So, let's dive into that a little bit. Do you have a favorite route that you can win with?
Man, I just like getting the ball. It don't really matter, what route it is. I think if you look at my tape, both from Cal and Fresno, they found a lot of unique ways to get the ball in my hands. Obviously playing in the slot, had the opportunity to play outside when we went to a more pro style offense. And then even got, was running routes out of the backfield a little bit, both at Cal and at Fresno. So, I'm not too picky with any particular play or any particular route, but, I think just being able to showcase what I can do is something that I enjoy. So,
And you mentioned your mindset as a returner, once you get the ball, like you just want to keep going. But what is your mindset on that as a receiver? Is it any different? Because, even as a receiver, it looks like you're never happy when you just catch the ball. You want to keep going, you want to get those extra yards. So walk us through your mentality there.
yeah, well, I think just as a player, I'm extremely competitive. Um, I man, just turning into a bundle of juice is kind of the mentality that I kind of carry, and having no fear at all. And really that's whether you're running a route across the middle, whether you're running a jet sweep and you got the DN flying up the field and you got to make something happen, whether it's a broken play, whether it's catching a punt, whatever it is, or running down the field on a kick return. Really I can just genuinely say that I play with no fear. And I feel like that is a huge reason why I'm in the position that I'm in today, and a huge reason why I have the opportunity to continue playing at the next level. So, I really take that to heart and kind of make that the embodiment of who I am and, the type of player I am on the field.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's obvious. Like you could see it that you play very freely,
Yeah.
and I think teams are gonna love that about you. Was there a year in your collegiate career where you felt like you really came into your own as a receiver, and the game just started to slow down for you a bit?
Yeah. I'd say my sophomore year at Cal, definitely. Obviously that next year COVID kind of was weird, and you didn't know if you were playing and you were training, but then we had to stop training. So, it was a weird transition into that 2020 season. But, I would say going into my senior season at Cal, that 2021 season, I was like, man, you know, I can do this for real. And then obviously going over to Fresno, kind of just fully betting on myself and taking a gamble. And, there was a lot to lose kind of with that decision. And, ultimately making that, I had the utmost confidence in my abilities and, what I was able to do.
Yeah. Well, I think, none of us can say that was the wrong decision
Yeah.
because, I think you really blossomed in at Fresno State. There've been so many talented and I might even say iconic slot receivers to grace the NFL. Is there a specific player that, you watched a lot of or that you just try to model your game after?
Yeah. I think there wouldn't be one receiver particularly. I think that there's a lot of different um, details in a lot of different receivers, particular crafts that I admire. And, really I could go down a whole list of guys, but, I just enjoy watching, guys who are masterful in their game. And, I wouldn't say that's tied to anybody specifically, but really just appreciating, good ball. So,
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, there's so many like guys that you could have possibly mentioned. So yeah, it's tough to just decide on one. You were a bit of a combine snub, I thought. I'm sure you saw some of the times that other receivers got out there. Are you kind of using that as extra motivation for you now for your pro day?
100%. And, obviously everything happens for a reason. At the end of the day, I still have the opportunity to go out there and show, the league what I'm able to do. And, I think that at the end of the day, as frustrating as it is for me, as frustrating as it is as a competitor, the opportunity is really all I'm looking for. And, as soon as I get that slim chance, I'm taking it and I'm running. So, that's really all I can ask for. And, at the end of the day, it's just a blessed position to be in, to be able to go out there and showcase what I can do. So any opportunity I'm more than grateful for.
Is there something that you're expecting to test especially good at your pro day?
Um, we'll see. We'll see what those numbers look like
Okay,
on Sunday. I
leaving
don't
us
I
in
don't want to jinx
suspense.
myself with anything, but
Yeah, no, I feel you.
there'll be some good numbers, definitely.
Okay, yeah, I feel you. We'll definitely be tuning in. I mean, your pro day is March 30th, so
Mm.
we'll definitely check that out. And there's still some time to go. So like now that you've seen other pro days get going, like do you get anxious at all, or like what's the mentality going into it?
Right. Yeah. I mean, definitely you get those waves like, oh man, like, dang, like everybody's gonna be out there the whole nine. But at the end of the day, like like I said, I'm a competitor. I love to go out there and compete. I love to go out there and showcase what I can do. At the end of the day, it's what I prepare day in and day out for. It's kind of the structure to my everyday life, and you know, one opportunity like that is not gonna make or break who I am. So at the end of the day, like I just enjoy being out there and playing ball, and you know doing everything that it comes with it. So, definitely get some nerves here and there, but really ultimately I'm just excited to go out there and perform.
Well, I know a lot of your time right now is probably dedicated to training for your pro day. So what's a typical training day looking like for you right now?
Man, so usually I'm getting up around 6:37, going and hopping. I got a little pool at the top of my apartment, so I'll go hop in the pool real quick just to wake the body up. It's usually pretty cold in the morning, then hop in the hot tub for a couple minutes just to warm the muscles up. Then I go head over, do my speed training, for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on what we're doing. After that, we'll do our lower body lift. And that's another hour, hour and a half, and then kind of going from there. Just I do a lot of different recovery things, just ensuring that I'm able to go out and perform the next day.
Mhm.
And really that kind of ranges from doing the hyperbaric chamber to getting deep tissue massages to doing IV therapy, dry needling, obviously just general maintenance, PT, things like that, and obviously they got receiver work in there that usually is the next day, and the upper body lifts. So, I mean, it's just this, constant routine of, breaking the body down, refining the craft, and then, repairing it. And really that's kind of what I spend, the rest of my day doing, is just ensuring that, I'm healthy and I'm good to go. And, I think those are kind of traits that carry over when you get to the next level. Just speaking with, some of the teams that I've spoken to already, and some of my friends who are playing in the NFL, that's a big plus, and something that's going to lengthen your career in the NFL. So trying to get into that routine and make that a habitual deal for me is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the recovery is just as important as the training, definitely. Um, you mentioned, you've spoken to some of the guys that have gone through this process before, guys that are in the NFL today. Like, so are you getting some advice from those guys and former teammates of yours through this
Ab-
process?
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, I think the questions are so broad, right? Because sometimes it's not always just about oh, like, what do you think they're going to ask me, or like, what do you think they're going to make me do with this, or like, how is it when you get there? But I've just been so blessed to have so many great people in my corner, and have built so many great relationships with guys that are playing at the next level, that even just how to be financially responsible, what are things off the field that these organizations are looking for, and even just film work stuff, to be able to get ahead. So, really it's just been a broad scope of questions that I've had for them, and just trying to be a sponge and just learn. And, ultimately, like, that's kind of the mentality that even entering a facility that I want to continue to have, just trying to learn as much as possible, and better myself in every single way. So
Yeah, no, I know it's definitely valuable to have that as a resource. So that's really good for you. Now, aside from your pro day, you already did have the extra chance to show scouts what you're all about. You were invited to the Shrine Bowl. Congrats on that, by the way.
thank you. Thank you.
How did it feel to get that invite?
Yeah, it was huge, right? I think that's the first step for most guys. Once they finish their senior season, it's like, okay, like that's the first thing on the list, is these bowl games. So,
Mhm.
I think to have the opportunity to obviously be around, so many talented individuals, and just guys that I'm going to be seeing at the next level, it was just really a blessing to be a part of that group. and be in that crowd. And, ultimately got my feet wet and first experience, really speaking with scouts and, different teams. And, obviously the Atlanta Falcons coaching staff was coaching us. So, being able to see, NFL offense a little bit and, kind of just feel what that is like, was just an unbelievable experience. And, I can't thank Eric Galco enough, for helping me and letting me be a part of such a great experience.
Yeah, you mentioned the coaching. Like I know for a lot of guys, like that's their first introduction to NFL coaching, right? So for you, did you feel like there was any adjustment at all or anything that was like a glaring difference from, college to the NFL style coaching?
Well, that was the thing, it was, when I say getting my feet wet, it was like, man, like at the end of the day, it's just ball,
Yeah.
So, I've had the opportunity to be in NFL type offenses, I had an offensive coordinator at Cal, Bill Musgrave, that was in the NFL for 20 plus years. So I would say that there's a lot of crossover with the terminology, obviously a lot of crossover with the concepts. So, really just being in the room with those coaches and seeing what the concepts look like, the philosophy, all that stuff. I was like, man, look, I've seen it before. So that's what I would say was the biggest takeaway just from being around those coaches.
Well, I'm sure that's a great feeling to know, like, wait a minute, like I know this already. This is a piece of cake, at least for a little bit, right? Like maybe not for everything, but
Right.
and you let me know that you did meet with the 49ers. So if you could share a little bit about like how that meeting went for you.
Yeah, no, it went well. Obviously spoke with them, just gathered some background information. Obviously I've been, being at Cal, I had spoken with them a few times before, and they were obviously very familiar, with who I was and my background. I'm actually heading up there April 12th for their local pro day.
Nice.
So, I'll be up there and obviously get an opportunity to be around the coaches and staff. So, yeah, definitely looking forward to it. And, like I said, just excited for the opportunity.
Now, I know you would love to be drafted by any team, but just hypothetically, if the 49ers were to draft you and, you got to play under a coach like Kyle Shanahan, be around guys like Kittle and Debo, and, Kyle uses his guys so creatively, like, how would it feel to be drafted by the 49ers?
Man, it would be awesome. It would be awesome. Like you said, I think Coach Shanahan, is a creative mastermind and, utilizes his guys in really unique and creative ways. And, it's definitely something that's appealing, for a player like myself, who I believe versatility is my strong suit. So, it would definitely be a blessing. My auntie would be pretty happy because they're pretty big 49ers fans. And, yeah, it would be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And being able to stay in California too, right? Like I'm sure that'd be
Look, I don't
just
know why.
another plus right there.
Come on, see?
Well, look, okay, we'll get you out of here, but I have one last question for you because I like to end all my interviews with this. What is a team? What is a fan base getting with Nikko Remigio?
Man, they're getting a true pro. Really, I'm constantly seeking ways to, not only elevate myself as a football player, but just elevate myself as a man in general. And really, that's the emphasis and the type of drive that I'm going to be bringing to an organization. You're getting a good locker room guy. You're getting an extreme competitor. And like I said, you're getting a guy that has no fear. And, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help the team out and ultimately get big wins. And, at the end of the day, this is what I love to do. This is my passion. And, it'll show in every single way.
Love it. Great answer. I know teams are going to be happy with that. Fans are going to be happy with that. Nikko, thank you so much for taking the time to, hop on this podcast and let us get to know you a little bit. Like I said, we're going to be tuning in to that pro day. So, best of luck and on your pro day and, of course, beyond that as well.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. and looking forward to it.
Of course. For all you guys that tuned in, thank you so much. Make sure you guys like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. There will be plenty more content like this. But for now, have a good Wednesday evening, folks. Peace.